Imagine this. You're sitting on your couch after a long, exhausting day. You grab your PlayStation controller, look at your console, and think, man, I wish I could just take this experience anywhere. Not just remote play on your phone, not a small screen struggling with notifications popping up, not pairing controllers, but a true, dedicated device that feels built for PlayStation gaming. That's where the PlayStation Portal enters the conversation. Today, we're going to explore what the PlayStation Portal really is, what it isn't, why it became one of the most talked about gaming gadgets of the past year, and whether it lives up to the hype, or if it's just another piece of tech that looks cool on the shelf, but ends up collecting dust. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll know exactly whether the Portal deserves a spot in your hands or in your Amazon cart. Let's begin with the thing that shocked people the most when Sony announced it. The PlayStation Portal is not a handheld PlayStation console. You're not getting a portable PS5, you're not downloading games onto the device, and you're not taking it outside and playing on a bus or a plane. Instead, think of the Portal like a window to your PS5. Your PlayStation stays home, but the Portal lets you access it from anywhere with Wi-Fi. It's basically a high-quality, PlayStation-focused remote play machine. But here's where things get interesting. Because when people first heard that, the immediate reaction was, wait, I can already do remote play on my phone. So why would I pay for this? And honestly, that's a fair question. But here's where the Portal starts making its case. If you're from the US, especially if you live in a household where everyone uses the same TV, or you're someone who travels around the house a lot, or maybe you just like gaming in different spaces, your bed, your kitchen counter, your backyard, the PlayStation Portal solves a problem you might not even realize you have. Because remote play on a phone is convenient, but playing God of War on a slippery touchscreen with your thumbs covering half the screen? Not ideal. And pairing a DualSense controller with your phone while trying to balance the phone somewhere? Even worse. The Portal's biggest selling point is simple. It feels like a PS5 controller because it basically is a DualSense split in half with an 8-inch 1080p screen in the middle. You get the adaptive triggers. You get the haptic feedback. You get the comfort. And that alone changes the entire remote play experience. But here's where people really started paying attention. Once the Portal launched, reviewers tried it. Gamers tried it. And the reactions were surprisingly split. Some people said, this thing is pointless. Others said, I literally use this more than my actual PS5. So why such a dramatic difference? Let's talk about real-world usage. Because on paper, the Portal is fine. It streams your PS5 games. It does remote play. It requires Wi-Fi. It does not run cloud gaming. It does not run apps. It basically does one thing. But that one thing, it does shockingly well. Imagine this scenario. You're lying in bed. It's late. You don't want to turn on the TV, sit up, and fully game in the traditional sense, but you still want to continue your progress in a story game. You grab the Portal, it instantly connects, and suddenly you're back in your world. Your progress, your console, your saves, just in a more comfortable way. That's when the Portal stops feeling like a gadget and starts feeling like a lifestyle upgrade. Or maybe you share your TV with family. Your kids are watching a movie. Your partner is watching their favorite show. Your PS5 is right there, but the TV is taken. The Portal? Problem solved. You get the full PlayStation experience in your hands, without sacrificing anyone's screen time. But it's not all perfect. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Wi-Fi. If your connection is weak, inconsistent, or super crowded, the Portal will suffer. Lag, compression, drops. Remote play is only as good as your network. For people with strong home Wi-Fi, the Portal is buttery smooth. For people with weak Wi-Fi, it's a frustrating mess. And that's one of the reasons the reviews were so divided. People with good internet loved it. People with bad internet hated it. Another huge debate is the lack of Bluetooth. Yes, the Portal does not support normal Bluetooth headphones. Only Sony's own PlayStation Link ACC accessories work wirelessly. Everything else, you have to plug in with a cable. A lot of people hated this decision, and honestly, I get it. Why limit a device like that? But for the sake of fairness, here's the truth. Sony built the PlayStation Link ecosystem specifically to reduce latency. Bluetooth has delay. Link is almost none. But still, locking people into accessories never feels good. Now let's talk about something more emotional, the intangibles. The reasons people started using the Portal way more than they expected. For a lot of gamers, the Portal became something personal. They use it while relaxing before bed. They use it during lunch breaks at home. They use it while sitting in the backyard, enjoying fresh air. It made gaming accessible in moments when turning on the TV felt like too much. It turned the PS5 into something you could enjoy casually, quickly, comfortably. And that's why it sold out everywhere for months. Because the Portal isn't meant to replace your PS5. It's meant to expand it, to give you more ways to play, more moments to play, more places to play. And that brings us to the question, is the PlayStation Portal worth it? If you want a portable gaming console, no. If you expect to play outside your home on unstable Wi-Fi, no. If you want to play cloud games or download games on the device, no. But if you want convenience, comfort, portability in your own home, if you prefer gaming lying down instead of sitting upright, if your TV is shared or not always available, if you value the DualSense experience, and if you have stable internet, then yes, absolutely yes. The Portal becomes something you use more often than you ever expected. Not because it replaces your PS5, but because it extends it into real life, into real routines, into real moments of rest. And that's why thousands of people who originally made fun of the Portal ended up loving it. It wasn't designed to impress on paper. It was built to impress in daily life. But let's go even deeper for a moment. Let's talk about the future. Because believe it or not, the Portal might be a sign of something bigger. Sony is clearly experimenting with the idea of portable experiences again. Not exactly like the PS Vita, not exactly like the PSP, but something in between, something hybrid, something connected, something that blends PlayStation power with convenience and mobility. And if the Portal succeeds long-term, it might be the stepping stone toward a new generation of PlayStation handhelds. Something more powerful, something more flexible, something that can run games on its own, but also link seamlessly with the PS5. A true evolution of remote play. But that's a story for another day. Right now, the PlayStation Portal is exactly what it claims to be. A beautifully designed, purpose-built device made for one thing, giving you a comfortable, premium way to access your PS5 anywhere in your home. Not a handheld console, not a cloud gaming machine, not a Vita successor, just a surprisingly fun, surprisingly relaxing extension of your PlayStation library. And maybe that's enough. So if you've been debating whether to buy one, if you've been watching reviews, reading comments, scrolling through Reddit, if you're wondering whether this thing will genuinely make your gaming life better, the answer depends on your lifestyle, your internet, and how you enjoy gaming. But for the right person, the Portal is a game changer. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be lying in bed at night, Portal in hand, playing your favorite game. And you'll think back to this video and say, yep, this thing was worth it. But let's go even further, because the PlayStation Portal isn't just a gadget. It's a conversation starter. It's one of those devices that makes people stop and ask, wait, what is that thing? When guests see you using it, they're curious, intrigued, maybe even a little confused. Is it a Switch? Is it an Android device? Is it a tablet? And then you tell them the truth. It's my PS5 in my hands. And that moment, that curiosity, that reaction, it shows exactly why the Portal made such a huge impact. Because while most gaming accessories feel like accessories, controllers, headsets, chargers, the Portal feels like a new way to experience the PlayStation universe. Not a replacement, not an upgrade, but a new perspective. Let's talk about something people rarely mention, the mental side of gaming, the emotional side, the comfort side. Gaming isn't always about sitting upright with full focus, lights off, sound blasting. Sometimes gaming is relaxation, unwinding, comfort, a way to slow down after a long day or calm your thoughts before bed. And the Portal fits into that space beautifully. It's the kind of device you grab when you don't want to commit to a full gaming session, when you just want to lean back, stretch your legs, and melt into the couch. When you want to escape into a world you love without the overhead of turning on the TV, adjusting the volume, setting up the room. It's gaming without the formality, gaming without the pressure, gaming in its purest, most casual form. People often underestimate how important comfort is. If something is easy, you use it. If something is comfortable, you return to it again and again. And that's one of the reasons the Portal has stayed relevant long after its launch. Now, imagine this scenario, and I guarantee a lot of people listening right now will relate. You come home from work. You're tired. The TV is occupied. The living room is loud. But you still want a little me time to dive into your favorite game. You don't want to wait for the room to clear. You don't want to negotiate who gets the TV. You just want to play. With the Portal, you don't need anyone's permission. No compromises. No waiting. You sit down, press a button, and you're in. Instantly connected to the worlds you love. And that's the secret. It gives you control. The Portal puts your gaming time back in your hands, literally. And that feeling, that sense of independence, that sense of freedom, it's priceless. But let's shift gears for a moment. Let's talk about durability, something every US consumer cares about. The Portal is surprisingly sturdy. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel fragile. It feels like a real PlayStation product. It has weight. It has grip. It has that unmistakable DualSense feel. You know how some gadgets give off toy vibes? The Portal isn't one of them. It feels premium, intentional, well-built. And that makes a difference because when you hold it, it feels like a device you want to use. It feels like something you can rely on. But let's address a question many people still ask. If it's just remote play, why didn't Sony add more features? Why no apps? Why no cloud gaming? Why not a real handheld? And here's the truth, a truth that might surprise you. The Portal wasn't built to be everything. It was built to be excellent at one thing. Sony didn't want distractions. They didn't want complications. They didn't want to create another tablet or another phone or another Swiss Army knife device that tries to do 10 things but excels at none. Instead, they created something extremely focused, a dedicated PlayStation experience. And honestly, there's something refreshing about that. A device that isn't trying to be a jack of all trades. A device that isn't cluttered with features you'll never use. Just pure, simple, intentional gaming. Sometimes less is more. Now, let's dive into something people don't talk about enough. The psychological impact of a dedicated device. When you play on your phone, you're interrupted. Notifications pop up. Texts, emails, social media alerts, battery warnings, app updates. You're always one vibration away from being yanked out of your gaming immersion. But with the Portal, none of that exists. No distractions, no pop-ups, no app switching, no multitasking. Just you in your game. Pure focus, pure immersion, pure PlayStation. That's rare in a world full of noise and distraction. And it's one of the biggest reasons people say the Portal makes gaming feel satisfying again. Now let's talk about one of the most debated topics. Can you use the Portal outside your home? Technically, yes, if your home internet is good and if your outside connection is strong. But here's the truth. The Portal isn't meant for public Wi-Fi. It isn't meant for hotel networks. It isn't meant for crowded airport routers. It's designed for private Wi-Fi, where the connection is stable and predictable. And when used in that environment, the experience feels almost magical. Smooth, responsive, surprisingly close to playing on the TV. That's why people who use it as intended are extremely happy with it. But let's zoom out again.